And the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks gave out thousands of dollars in scholarships to student archers all over the state. The department awarded $33,000 to archery students during the Archery in Mississippi Schools program finals. Connor Ross, who was named the top archer, received a $5,000 scholarship from the department's Marine Foundation, along with $1,500 in memory of Jimmy Armstrong. Caitlin Jackson Poydras earned the title of top female archer. She received a $5,000 scholarship from the foundation, as well as a $1,500 memorial scholarship. Several other archers also received scholarships during that event.
Now, your WTVA Severe Weather Authority forecast with Chief Meteorologist Matt Laubon.
Seems like we've had a lot of the same lately.
We have been kind of flirting with the 90-degree point, though not quite there a lot of spots. Tomorrow's when things start to change. The first of a couple of cold fronts arriving, and it'll bring with it more rain chances. We're just kind of sitting here, though, kind of bubbling out the moistures. We're 84 degrees with just those puffy cumulus clouds right now that measure moisture. That dew point a little bit lower than it was yesterday at this time with those south winds at about 15 miles per hour. That's likely kept the stickiness from being as high as maybe it could be. We're 69 for tomorrow morning's low temperatures, 78 by noontime, and highs expected to be low 80s for tomorrow. There will be some early rain chances early in the day, more likely to see them developing into the afternoon and maybe mid-afternoon, kind of our peak time frame for some of those, as the first of two cold fronts we're watching arrives. Now, the severe weather threat is not high, but it is a level 2 out of 5 risk. Damaging winds, the most likely impact we could end up seeing out of this, though there is a limited tornado threat with this if we can get some storms to get a little bit more rotation on the front side of this. We'll look at where that's most likely here in just a couple of moments. Most of the upper level winds are stronger to the north of us with this storm system. So that first one, the one we're looking at for tomorrow, the second one back there toward, say, Utah, Friday. And really, they're both kind of come in one after the other. The first one of these just kind of actually stalls out more than actually fully passes into the area. So all the thunderstorms still solidly west of us, and that line from south of Dallas all the way to north of Little Rock with severe thunderstorm warnings at this point moving through locations that direction. No tornado warnings, thankfully, though those blue boxes are watches saying the ingredients are in place that maybe a couple are possible. So let's time this out with Storm Tracker. First off, nothing this evening. We are dry. We are clear this evening. 76 degrees. That temperature at 9 p.m. will go to right around 69 for early tomorrow morning under what should be some mostly, for the most part, I think we'll probably end up having some mostly cloudy skies. But again, a couple isolated showers possible, kind of leftovers from all the activity back to the west. Noontime, we're still kind of waiting for things to pop. And as we head towards, say, 2 to 3 o'clock, that's where those storms become a lot more likely. We're picking this up here, as you can see, 2:30, showing some of those isolated thunderstorms from Vernon back toward around Reform, and a few more up there toward Fulton and Tupelo and Bruce. Now, I think very kind of narrow time frame that maybe one or two of those could show some signs of rotation. This is not a high tornado risk, as we talked about a moment ago, but I think if a few of these can get more organized, some damaging wind gusts more likely, but I think most of them will be at least somewhat disorganized, thankfully, and so hopefully that limits the overall severe weather risk. So our risk, a level 2 out of 5. It includes all locations for tomorrow. This is nowhere near some of the setups we had earlier on in the late winter and early spring, thankfully, but certainly one of the better chances we've had for organized thunderstorms over the last 3 weeks or so. The front, though, stalling out, and so because it just kind of hangs here, doesn't fully push away, we still have the moisture left. That's important because that kind of lays the groundwork for additional thunderstorms to redevelop as that next front arrives for your Friday. So that's the reason we kind of go back to back on some of these chances. Now, Friday, we're still showing partly cloudy skies with isolated storms starting to develop at 6 p.m. More of those organizing, as you can see, by around 7 to 8 o'clock, showing those from Amory back toward Grenada, Water Valley, and Bruce, and then kind of working their way eastward. Once again, I do anticipate damaging wind gusts a possibility, and a non-zero tornado threat were all included in that risk on Friday. This could end up being upgraded just a little bit more if confidence increases on that one as it gets a little bit closer. But again, neither of those going to be high severe weather risks, and some of those isolated isolated showers and thunderstorms continue into the first part of your Saturday. Saturday's high 75 or 76 by Sunday and back up into the lower 80s by, say, the middle part of next week. But Emily, we do get a few days there with low temperatures in the lower 50s by the latter part of the weekend, and that is much more pleasant than what we've had recently. You can open up the windows in confidence knowing that it'll be a little bit cooler. All
right, Matt, thank you. If you're a North Lee County Water Association customer, listen up. Some of you are under a boil water notice tonight. Customers on County Road 601, 661, 503 North, 2790, and Highway 348 from Euclatuba Road to County Road 651 are under a boil water alert. This is because of a major water line break. Crews are working on fixing it now. We will keep you updated when it is lifted. Happening now, the U.S. economy isn't doing so well, but President Trump is now shifting blame. Who he says is responsible. Coming up. New at 5, the Mississippi Department of Transportation named a new state construction engineer. The department named Michael Hogan as the state's construction engineer. He has served with MDOT for more than 20 years in several different construction roles. As the state construction engineer, he will oversee MDOT's construction division and provide support to district construction operations across the state. For the first time in 3 years, the U.S. has a negative economic output. The country's GDP is down 0.3%. The number reflects the first 3 months of the year. President Trump today is blaming former President Biden. Perry Russum is in Washington.
New government numbers out today show the U.S.'s economic output is slowing under President Trump. Gross domestic product for the first quarter of the year is down 0.3%.
And I have to start off by saying that's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January. This is the quarterly numbers.
It's the first time the U.S. is seeing negative growth since 2022. The numbers reflect the first 3 months of the year and the first 3 months of Trump's term.
This is Biden. And you could even say the next quarter is sort of behind because it doesn't just happen on a daily or an hourly basis.
The Bureau of Economic Analysis says the GDP decline reflects an increase in imports. The numbers calculated before Trump's tariffs went into effect. Companies stockpiling inventory, causing that spike in imports.
Businesses themselves have announced that, they are uncertain about how much they will be able to sell in the future.
Trump holding a cabinet meeting today after his 100th day in office. U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer says tariff deals are still some weeks out.
So this is something, a reordering of global trade that hasn't happened since the end of World War II, and it's long overdue.
Trump talking tariffs with ABC's Terry Moran yesterday.
145% tariffs on China, and that is basically an embargo.
They deserve it.
It'll raise prices on everything from electronics to clothing to building houses.
You don't know that. You don't know whether or not China's going to eat it.
That's mathematics.
China probably will eat those tariffs.
Trump today.
Maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30, and maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally.
The executive director of the Port of Los Angeles tells CNBC their shipping volume will be down 35% next week. He says major American retailers are stopping their shipments from China as the country faces that tariff of 145%. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
Ukraine and the U.S. are planning to sign a minerals agreement. According to Ukrainian officials, the nation's ready to sign an agreement that would give the U.S. access to its valuable rare minerals. It comes almost 2 months after a White House meeting between Trump and Zelensky derailed talks on the deal. Ukraine's first deputy prime minister is traveling to Washington today. Zelensky's declined to sign the previous proposals of the deal, which requires Ukraine to relinquish a major share of its future oil, gas, and mineral revenues. Good grades lead to a Gouda surprise. How one local school district rewarded students for their academic achievements. Straight ahead. I just can't. I just can't. I mean, my head is just piercing. And the whole, homicide thing, it's just been a lot. That was Penny's kindergarten teacher. Figured it out last night, and then of course had to tell my daughter, so when she goes to school it wasn't like she's fine. It was like, okay, so Miss Sherry's husband was battling a very rare sinus cancer at the time that she was still teaching, and so she was real in and out, like at MD Anderson, and so she was there. And then Penny's kindergarten year was 2020, so halfway through COVID hit. So Penny doesn't remember a whole lot. She remembers her, but she doesn't. I mean, I think it's more impactful for me and Matt because that was her first school teacher, Sweetest woman. And then that summer or later in the fall, she lost her husband. A really rare sinus cancer. I never heard of anything like it. Yeah, I didn't either. It's along the rarities of what Craig has, it's just very, very rare. So it's just sad. Really? Is she undergoing treatment or surgery or? New at 5, finally today, hard work really does pay off. Tasty too. West Point Consolidated School District rewarded 8th and 9th graders who showed growth on their final benchmark assessment with a nacho bar. Who doesn't want to celebrate with cheese? Bright Horizons partner St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church sponsored the tasty event, and as you can see, the students and everyone really enjoyed it. Thank you with nachos. I like that. And thank you for making us your